I could do it with my eyes closed.
Watch out! I think you need to keep your eyes open so you don't get hurt.
Hey, at least Rocky is finally developing a character trait. He's stupid! But you're not stupid for checking out episode 6 of OZO. Very good dodge, though. Another movie! This really is becoming the summer of oops all movies for me. I knew I'd be covering movies in Dragon Ball Dissection. Covering MMPR the movie last time was a last-minute addition when I was reminded of the 30th anniversary, but I completely forgot this was coming up too. Yes, Ohranger has a movie, and that movie was made to celebrate 20 years of Super Sentai, and that movie was adapted into an episode of Power Rangers Zeo, and that movie is not included on the Ohranger DVD box set, so I did not watch it at the beginning of the year when I prepped to start this OZO video series. But that's okay. I'm finally watching it now. I have my ways. And you know something? This was fun! It was silly, it was over-the-top cinematic delight. I'm ready for my close-up. Oh, my microphone's not gonna like that. Because Ohranger the movie is a movie, it brings in many new exciting elements. It's shot on a larger film stock for a higher quality image. It's presented in widescreen, although Power Rangers isn't going to have any of that. And it allows Ohranger to throw in lots of varied action pieces, many of which Power Rangers gets to capitalize on. But it contains one element that serves as a common refrain in my comparison video show. This is a short movie, it's only about 40 minutes long, but that means it's about the length of a double episode. That is to say, we essentially have Power Rangers adapting a two-parter into one episode. That means a lot of footage has to be cut out. But unlike most of the times when this happens, the Power Rangers story mostly remains intact and comprehensible. That's because the story is pretty light to begin with, and Power Rangers mostly cuts out action scenes, and there are plenty of action scenes where the Ohrangers aren't transformed. So, hey, that's simple enough. It's losing a lot of fun stuff, don't get me wrong. Ohranger definitely has an edge when it comes to spectacle, but compared to the mess most of these cut-in-half attempts are, I think we got off pretty lucky. The general idea between the two episodes is almost exactly the same. Bulldaunt, or Prince Sprocket, wants to make his own movie. He kidnaps humans in order to do so and subjects them to all kinds of weird genre action conventions. That's pretty much it. What changes is the surrounding context. In Ohranger, Bulldaunt starts making movies just because, but in Power Rangers, Sprocket's inspired by seeing Rocky, Kat, and Tanya working as extras on a superhero film. He even steals costumes to make his monsters, an element that doesn't exist in Ohranger. Rocky has dreams of stardom and gets his chance when the hero's sidekick drops out. But uh-oh, those are real cogs, not actors. Nobody's gonna believe old Rocky. Over in Ohranger, the primary conflict is that Bulldaunt kidnaps some kids to be the actors/victims in his movie, and the Ohrangers have to brave the film worlds to save them. In Power Rangers, the kid stuff is cut out, and it's the Power Rangers themselves who are kidnapped. So it's kind of a mixed bag. I like that Power Rangers ties Sprocket into the story in a logical fashion. I like that Rocky has something that he wants. But this isn't a Yuji-focused episode. Movie. So all the stuff about Rocky kind of peters out because there's no footage for it in the stuff they're adapting. Rocky wants to be a star, he becomes a star. He doesn't do anything to become one, he's just sitting around and the AD comes up and says, "Hey, you with the face! We have your dream job over here, you want it?" And he does. And there's no conflict. Also, Skull is a stunt double. Everyone laughs, ha 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 ha, the end. It's something, but in the words of my favorite Disney princess, I want more. Both shows feature much of the same action pieces. Obviously. That's why this video series exists! There's a wacky movie set, there's horseback riding, there's saving the passengers of a bus going over a cliff. Both shows even have a genuine movie slate that says Bulldaunt Studios on it. Yeah, Prince Sprocket named his studio Bulldaunt Studio. There doesn't have to be a reason for that any more than there needs to be a reason why Rita Repulsa named her castle Bondra Palace. Clearly, they're just words they like and there's no deeper meaning than that. Power Rangers has plenty of material to hack and slash, much of it involving the Ohrangers getting set on fire or seeing other people get set on fire. There are creepy dolls, a weird romantic vignette between Bacchushund and Hysteria that takes place somewhere? The last half of the film becomes a war picture with armies of... Wait, I actually have to look this up. I've only ever had to call them cogs up until now, and I forgot... I'm actually a little embarrassed. Okay, here we go. The last half of the film becomes a war picture with armies of Barlow soldiers fighting guys in doll masks. There's even a plucky team of Barlow war reporters. This gets rather violent, and that's probably part of why Power Rangers cuts this out. But it's also because a lot of these film vignettes are viewed through the perspective of the kids who were in the movie. They're having quite a bit of fun with the whole thing until a fighter pilot shoots their bus, killing the robot bus driver and causing it to, you guessed it, drive out of control! Oh no! Well, since the Power Rangers replaced the kids as the ones in trouble, the American show has to film at least a little new footage. Very little. All of what I just said is replaced by the Power Rangers being dumped into a very 80s music video set without any visible walls and a door that leads to nowhere. Stylistically, it's pretty interesting set design, making something out of nothing. Still, it's hard to replace all the wild action with the Power Rangers confused by an old telephone. Really, it's just a green room, a holding area for the Power Rangers to hang out in until Sprocket wants to film with them. In other words, it's just here to kill time. Both pieces of media use the same wonderfully off-the-wall solution to get the heroes from the studio to the bus. The bus scares some chickens, which jump into a hole, and they appear in a similar hole in the studio. It's a tunnel! Just jump in there and we're fine. Love it. The motivation gets a little awkward in Power Rangers though. See, Power Rangers is writing around the fact that the first half of the movie has the characters split into two teams to try to find the kids. That doesn't happen in America, so instead, Sprocket only calls Tommy and Tanya out of the green room. Again, through that door that exists, that all of you could easily walk through, so maybe you'd have a better chance of fighting. No! Instead, Tommy says, we should play by Sprocket's rules. Uh-huh. Why did we make him leader again? It's not until Billy makes contact with the others and says, hey, maybe you should take some initiative rather than playing along with Sprocket's scripted movie where you probably all die, that they decide to go through the door that's there. So in Ohranger, this is simply the moment the teams find each other again. In Power Rangers, it's the characters saying, hey Tommy, we decided your plan sucks and we're not going to do it. And Tommy, to save face, replies, oh, that's exactly what I was going to do. In fact, we should totally save that bus I just saw. Yeah, in Power Rangers, the bus comes out of nowhere, but that actually works here given how random and genre playful this story is. It's the same thing with the Ohrangers fighting enemies to get horses, being cut down to the Power Rangers just having horses. That's fine. I never questioned it. Look really closely though, and you can still see the Ohranger bullet holes in the bus windshield in Power Rangers. Movie magic happens, and the heroes save the occupants of the bus just before it goes over a cliff. And explodes. Because it has to explode. In Power Rangers, though, the Japanese kids magically transform into American adults, who then disappear because they're not real people. But you don't even need to hop between countries to see weird continuity goofs. as while the O-Rangers jump out of opposite sides of the bus, they land in one big pile together. Bulldaunt might be a competent director, but he clearly neglected to hire an experienced script supervisor. A script supervisor is the person on the crew who keeps track of continuity between shots. If you understand filmmaking, that joke is hilarious, trust me. As the Ohranger movie continues, it becomes clear to the heroes that something far more dangerous is going on. The villains who were getting set on fire and blown to smithereens turn out to be regular people. Bulldaunt has been using them in his movie, but realizes that they're just not sturdy enough, so he plans to augment them with machines. And in order to do that, he has to swap out the human parts for machine parts, RoboCop style. Somehow the Ohrangers immediately lose the kids again, who get captured and sentenced to augmentation. The kids are lined up in front of a military execution squad and are forced to watch as a man is put in a chair and has his legs cut off by a giant axe. It actually happens! The camera cuts away, but it actually happens! Wow, this got dark all of a sudden. I haven't talked about the kids because they really don't matter. Or at least none of them do but the girl named Misako. She's the only one who's had any kind of personality and has been shown going out of her way to nurse the injured actors. Now she goes through all the stages of grief. She delivers an impassioned monologue about how human lives are precious. She collapses on the ground and takes in nature one last time as the war correspondents film. As she's put in the chair and blindfolded, she encourages the youngest boy and tries to keep him calm. The sound of drum beats echo through the otherwise silent battlefield. The Ohrangers sprint past the corpses, but will they make it in time? I actually teared up a little bit at this point. Misako is the only character in this movie I care about. What about the Ohrangers? Misako is the only character in this movie I care about. Thankfully, the Ohrangers arrive to be the big damn heroes and at least earn their paychecks. By the end of the movie, Misako is strong enough to stand up to the boy bully. And she's figured out the perfect way to do it. What? She just did Sailor Moon's catchphrase, "In the name of the moon, I'll punish you." This reminds the boys they need to go home to watch Ohranger. Wait, Ohranger's a show in this movie? So is Sailor Moon? These kids are just fans of Toei television shows and mimic the adventures of their favorite heroes? Showing kids inspired by Toei properties is definitely some good brand synergy, as well as a meaningful thematic tie to the superhero fair this movie premiered as a part of. But if the kids are saying Ohranger is a show, did any of this actually happen, or did they just imagine it? I'm not sure anymore. But what I am sure of is that none of this, the fourth wall breaking or the child dismemberment, happens in Power Rangers Zeo or has any equivalent. I'm not even sure why I brought it up. Yes, I am. I thought it was cool and wanted to talk about it. Let's score these. For story, there isn't much of one for either version. Still, the framing device of the actual movie for its actual heroes provides the slimmest of context for the adventures to follow, so I'll give it to Power Rangers Zeo. For characters, I'm beginning to feel like a broken record. The Ohrangers just aren't people. There's a sequence at the end where every character dances in front of a camera lens. The Ohrangers show more personality there than anywhere else in the movie. Rocky has a little to do in Zeo, but obviously it's Misako who steals the show. The movie. Because of her, Ohranger wins. Finally, for action, well, this isn't going to be much of a surprise. Just like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, Ohranger the movie is just an excuse to shuttle the bland, boring leads from action set piece to action set piece. But that action is really good. There's so much fun variety. Power Rangers has to cut out tons of this, and I'm afraid its surreal green room doesn't quite make up for everything it loses. Ohranger wins, and that means that Ohranger the movie manages to squeak out a victory. But it is a movie after all. So let's wind things down with a show versus show match. It's traditional for the short to play before the movie, but I'm not much of a traditionalist. It's Target Rangers versus Clash, a super great battle. Wow, what a super great title. Like the title, this is pretty simple. You really can't get much more of a straight adaptation than with these episodes. The bad guys have a missile-based monster, they make my monster grow. The ensuing battle shows the giant robot being hurled into the sun in order to introduce the idea of interchangeable character-based battle helmets with different skills. Buy all of our toys! Power Rangers ties this to a plot about Rocky trying to date his computer class partner, which replaces Ohranger's character story of nothing. I mean, the arrival of the monster interrupts Judy and Momo driving around wearing something other than their uniforms, and for about 5 seconds, you think you might finally learn something about any of our characters, but no. No. This is the 8th episode, by the way. What Ohranger manages to bring to the table is a sense of escalation, although it's a sense of escalation that serves to solidify the status quo. It opens with a big battle scene that Power Rangers doesn't adapt, showing that even the huge Baranoia fleets are no match for Ohranger Robo. As boring as its name is, that doesn't stop it from slicing through enemy ships like butter. Because of this, Bacchus Hund realizes that he has to come up with a new plan, which is the same plan as every other Sentai show. He's going to send down a monster every week. And yeah, I guess he's already been doing that. However, Acha and Kocha get surgically upgraded so Acha can throw Kocha, and Kocha can stick a thing in the monster's ear to make it grow. And yeah, that part also applies to Clank and Orbis, their Power Rangers counterparts, although the surgery scene is cut down a little bit. I don't think it's too violent. I mean, it's just a bunch of gears and stuff, and if last month's movie taught us anything, it's that Power Rangers really wants me to notice gears. Given that this is Power Rangers Zeo's 4th episode, and they've largely ignored the idea of an invasion fleet for the Machine Empire, this faux shift in the storyline is ignored. Yeah, the Power Rangers have Zords now, the Machine Empire has to make enemies who can grow to deal with them. That's about it. In Ohranger, Bara Missiler is pulled from a collection of dangerous monsters on another planet. In Power Rangers Zeo, it's rewritten so that King Mondo steals the character of Silo from the video game Rocky and his gal pal Jennifer are designing. But they do that by stealing Rocky's password, which means Rocky and Jennifer could fail the whole project and Jennifer will hate him! Oh no! Hey, it's silly, but it's your typical Power Rangers dilemma, that of mixing monster battles with high school problems. The plots connect, which is far more than I can say about whatever Tanya and Sean were up to last time. Both shows try to wring some fake drama out of the new additions to the heroes' arsenals. Power Rangers Zeo does the exact thing it did in the previous episode by having Alpha yell, "But they haven't been tested yet!" And then of course the helmets work fine. Ohranger is a little less repetitive, but somehow even dumber. They wait until Ohranger Robo is being dragged into the sun for Shohei to object to the helmets because it's too risky. Too risky? Dude, you're about to be swallowed up by a star! There is nothing you could do that is riskier than that. Just shut up and make with the bullhorns already. And at least Power Rangers has Billy mention in advance that he's making these things. In Ohranger, they come out of nowhere. Oh, we have these things. Let's use them. To replace the slicing and dicing scenes Power Rangers cuts out, they throw in a cog fight with Rocky and Adam. This is when the cogs steal the password to make their floppy disk of doom. This so fits the kind of structure I'm used to in Season 1 of MMPR, where the foot soldiers come down and ruin the Rangers' day by stealing something they need, that I'm pretty sure this is the moment I first realized that Power Rangers Zeo wasn't showing the characters fight. In Season 1, this would never be a transformed fight. This is the part of the episode where the actors get to strut their stuff, where the stakes haven't risen that high. I kept an eye on this, and by the time I got to the end, I realized to my horror that I don't think they ever do any unmorphed fights in this series. I think Rocky playing the hero's sidekick is the closest we get, and he still never throws a single punch. Okay, I went back to check, and by my count, there are only 3 occasions across the entire series where unmorphed Rangers fight hand-to-hand with the enemy, one of which is in a dream sequence. In addition, there's a fake-out where it's revealed Adam is actually sparring his fellow Power Rangers. There's another instance where Adam throws a single punch just to get away and morph, Bulk and Skull fight Cogs once, but it's done through slapstick, and one other character attempts to fight Cogs, but is almost immediately captured by them. Someone told me that they were really trying to mask the human-based violence by this point. Now that I think about it, is that the reason behind the ninja powers in Season 3? Ugh, not a fan. Getting to see the actors fight is what helps sell the illusion that they're the same people in the costumes later on. And if nothing else, Ohranger has some pretty good untransformed martial arts throughout its run. It's a shame Power Ranger Zeo has no equivalent. Finally, I want to talk about Rocky's dilemma here, which, well, isn't much of a dilemma. He loses the password, but he gets the disc back before he even sees Jennifer again, so who cares? But that's not my issue. Clearly, Power Ranger Zeo is casting Rocky as the lovable oaf character. However, this episode kind of forgets the lovable part, swapping that out for, what's the word? Creepy.
I'm just glad I got teamed up with you.
I'm sure you are.
This Friday we're having a school dance. Oh, you want me to go with you?
No.
Durr, you're purty. I'm contributing nothing to this assignment. Why don't you love me? And yeah, she's kinda cold to him, but frankly, he's been blatantly hitting on her this entire episode, so I don't blame her for being annoyed. And yeah, in Season 1, Zach gets to chase Angela around, but those episodes don't tend to end with Zach giving a self-righteous speech. How dare you not accept my invitation to the dance? You're supposed to like me!
Dance. With you.
And then, Sai, she apologizes, saying how important her grades are to her because she wants to get into college and really can't afford to be distracted by Rocky's nonsense. How dare she? But you know, it's good they're friends now because they can finally resolve the dance question.
About the dance?
Yeah?
I really am busy Friday.
No. That should have been how it ended. Instead, it ends with,
But I'll take a rain check.
so that's our lesson for today, kids. If a girl turns you down, keep pestering her, and eventually, if she's distracted by enough emotional turmoil, she'll say yes. And they're worried about the characters fighting, sending the wrong message. Let's score these. For story, while I'm not fond of the ending, Power Rangers has more of a story than Ohranger. Power Rangers wins. For characters, again, well, Rocky kinda gets on my nerves.
No offense, Billy, but now's not the time to be talking shop.
He's trying to save your life, shut up! He at least has a character, which is more than I can say for anybody in Ohranger. Power Rangers wins. But for action, the Cog fight is not only a disappointment to me for what it represents, it doesn't measure up to spaceship slicing carnage. Ohranger wins the category, but that's not enough to keep Power Rangers from winning this match. Hey, that worked out quite nicely. Each contender won a match today. My summer of movies is about to continue with Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, so if you're not watching Dragon Ball Dissection, now's a good time to start. After my massive hard drive and backup crash in 2023, I'm finally pooling together my resources enough to invest in some more robust backup options, which are expensive. It's about time too, as a month ago, one bump of a USB cable caused me to lose my entire folder of logo elements for this series. That was fun. I still haven't made pink, green, or gold variants yet. So if you can, please help out the channel at patreon.com/MystAirFusion at whichever reward tier feels most fun for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.